Welcome back to London's Gfinity Arena for the Hearthstone Summer Masters. I'm, of course, Callum Leslie, still your host, and Lothar is back in the angry chair.
It's a red chair, so it actually fits.
They're all red. That doesn't we're not all angry, Lothar.
I'm not angry. I'm just
You're making
being
excuses.
honest. No, I'm being
He's
honest.
just being real, Callum.
It's just been real.
real
Yeah.
talk.
It's been real.
There's a lot of unchained.
Some real talk. Saul's on the analyst desk with us as well. Had some fun casting that last game.
Yeah, it really did. It was a lot of fun. Casting with Nimch is just a breeze. He's such a pro.
You're working hard. For people that don't realize, Saul had his break in the first game of the day.
I did. Yeah.
Everyone gets one break, and Saul got his right at the start, so now he has to work 5 series in a row. He's a trooper.
Yep.
But it's
Thank
going
you.
well. We got our elimination match from Group A coming up for you. It's going to be Tom60229 versus DontStopMe.
Oh.
You can see the bracket on your screen there.
DontStopMe
no.
versus Unskiller.
Sorry, yes, it's Don't Stop Me versus Unskiller. My bad. That's who faced in the last match. That's my mistake. Don't Stop Me and Unskiller in our losers bracket as I get my head together. And it's going to be an interesting game. These two players who probably the two biggest unknown players in this tournament,
Sure.
at least from our knowledge perspective. Don't Stop Me, a French player, Unskiller from your country of Poland, Lothar.
From Proland.
So maybe tell us a little bit.
Proland.
Proland. Wow. Okay.
like it.
If that's a thing we're going to start saying, let's go with that. Tell us a little bit about Unskiller and his heritage in Proland.
Well, he's young and nervous, and that will take a toll, I think. I hope it will not, because, but the tendency today seems to...
Are you saying that players at Gfinity might get nervous and not play at their best? I can't believe you, Lothar. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, that actually happened a few times today, as we all know, and I'm sure that the Twitch chat also knows and remembers. Twitch chat always
Twitch
remembers.
chat is like an elephant. It never forgets.
Yeah.
You can see the lineups here for the two players. We, of course, saw Don't Stop Me earlier with his Warlock, Warrior, and Druid, which I believe is Malygos, Lock, Patron, and then the Druid.
Yep.
We haven't seen Unskiller yet on stream. It's Hunter, Warrior, and Rogue for him. We talked about Rogue a bit earlier in the day, but how Rogue was a deck which could always be strong, isn't necessarily a strong deck in the meta, but in the hands of the right player, can be very deadly, subtle.
Yeah, absolutely. Rogue is a very, very high skill cap deck. Decks like Miracle Rogue in the past and Oil Rogue now, when you talk to really, really high level pros about what some of their favorite decks are, Rogue comes out so commonly because it's a really get out what you put in kind of deck. There really isn't a skill cap to it. You can keep improving and improving with the deck because of just how intricate it is and the level of plays that you can make. And it's what lends to Rogue tending to have like the swingiest opinions on matchups for most classes. You'll talk to some people like, what's the Rogue Handlock matchup? Oh, well, yeah, Handlock wins. And then you talk to like a dedicated Rogue player. It's like, that matchup's a free win for Rogue. Like, it's easy.
Yeah, but it's that's a common mistake that the people are like ranking Handlock before Rogue. I mean, in the mirror in this matchup, because they don't have the experience when it comes to the Rogue, or they just don't see what kind of options did the Rogue had in his hand against the Handlock. And they were like, those assumptions are just wrong, in my opinion. Like before, we were having the oil version with the Miracle Rogue. It was really favoring the Handlock in this matchup. But with the introduction of the new card, I think it's like not even close. Rogue can clean the board easily, deal with 2 giants like without any effort. So Rogues are now the favorite.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of Rogue deck. We'd assume it's Oil Rogue. Is it running the Assassin's Blade? Is it maybe even a hyper-aggressive Rogue? We've seen, as a tech choice in a lineup, depending on what else he's playing. We do have the Hunter and the Warrior as well. We'd imagine it's a Patron Warrior. Haven't seen a Control Warrior yet, Lothar.
Well, I would say we might see one in... Maybe we'll see one right now with Unskiller. Maybe he's like...
Well, this is the last set of decks we haven't seen, so...
Yes, and with him playing Rogue, I say he actually might be taking out 4 patrons, against patrons. So having like a Control Warrior and a Rogue and a mid-range Hunter with snipes, you will be countering patrons really hard.
But Raven is a big advocate of snipe. He's been playing it a lot recently. I think he just wants to give us more ammunition to mock him with, but he seems to think it's very good. Soto, your thoughts on snipe?
Honestly, they are not particularly broadcastable, so I suggest that we move on as quickly as possible.
All right, well, let's look at these players in the booths here. We can see them on the screen.
Am I the only player that played Snipe at a major tournament? Because I played Snipe at first IEM.
Is that really something to boast about?
Well, you know, I was top 4. I won 2 qualifiers to get there.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, that was like 1 year ago. I was like,
such an age ago in Hearthstone. The meta has changed so much.
Well, that's actually true. Like the meta game changed, I don't know, 20 times.
Yeah,
30 times.
I was writing a feature recently on ESGN and going back and watching those games. It's a whole different world. Nat Pagel rules in that kind of meta. And Tinkmaster, and all those heady days.
Yeah,
Tinkmaster has made a comeback in Hearthstone, but it's only in the commercial.
Yeah, good joke.
Thank you, Lothar. Thank you for ruining my joke by then saying good joke.
I wanted to laugh, but that will be like even worse, right?
All right, we're going to get into this game in a second once I stop getting made fun of by Lothar. Let's get quick predictions first. Don't Stop Me and Unskiller. Lothar?
I would say it's even.
Make a pick.
No, I would say it's even.
Get off the fence, Lothar.
Okay, let's say Don't Stop Me.
Okay, fine. Soto, your pick.
I'm going to go with Unskiller. I haven't seen him play, but I have seen Don't Stop Me play poorly. So I guess that gives the edge to Unskiller if he is just an average Hearthstone player.
Shots being fired up here in the analyst panel. Let's take it into our casters, Nimsh and Raven. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. And Raven, I'm so confused. Like, Callum trying to pull Tom 6029 back to the groups, and then Lothar boasting that he was top 4 in a 4-man tournament. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, I like it though, Snipe. Why not?
Yeah,
it's
Snipe
definitely
fine.
Probably my favorite card, actually. So, yeah, I'm with Lothar on this. Good card.
Right.
It can work, maybe.
Lothar boys.
Yeah, why not?
So we do have Unskiller versus Don't Stop Me. And what's your pick?
I'd have to go with Unskiller. I mean, we've not seen him play, so, you know, I don't know how good he is, or, you know, maybe if pressure's a factor or not, I'm not sure. But I just like the lineup more. I really like the Hunter pick. I think Hunter's really strong in anything at the moment. It's always a strong deck, but especially at the moment. The Rogue pick's what I really like about this. I mean, everyone's bringing Warrior, a lot of people bringing Hunter, but the Rogue pick could actually make the difference because they've not played against anyone else with it for a start. And the Rogue versus Don't Stop Me's lineup of the Warlock, Druid, and the Patron Warrior, I think it's not really going to have a terrible matchup. I don't think there's anything that's too bad in there.
It makes a lot of sense. I was supposed to pick Don't Stop Me, but I will have to go with Unskiller as well, because I might be the only player that actually knows the guy. I played versus him in a big Polish LAN, and he was undefeated until the time he actually faced me in top 4. And I was the only player he lost to. He played really well. He played Rogue at the time. He excelled at Miracle Rogue, so that's why he is a Rogue player, a really great player preparing for this tournament. And I've talked to him on my break when I was just enjoying my chicken back in the specific establishment I won't name, but basically he was not that nervous. He was very nervous in the beginning for his first match, but when I was talking to him, he was focused on the match, thinking about what to do, how to play it. So I will put my money on him as well.
Yeah, I think also after like nearly a full day, although he's not actually played that many sets, after a full day of being here and just getting used to the environment, and you know, now we see he's just playing in the booth on the main stage. He would have actually played off stage. He's still been in the booth. He's still played the game. So the fact that he's managed to just relax and be like, right, you know what, I'm just going to win this. That's actually a big factor, because we saw Don't Stop Me get cast not too long ago and had a bit of a rough set. So that might have actually even threw him a bit more as well. So now he's on the stage again. He's at the mercy of us, and more importantly, the analyst desk.
It might also be on the contrary, actually, because a lot of players, when they play those tournaments, they actually grow while they play. And you know, Don't Stop Me from Be Genius, he had that experience in the booth once. Maybe he didn't play his A game, but after that he had a breather, so he could prepare for this. And maybe now he will actually show some really good Hearthstone.
Yeah, it looks like we're straight into the first game, and Unskiller's brought out what pretty obviously appears to be mid Hunter of some variant, and Don't Stop Me is putting his Patron Warrior. So what do you think about this matchup?
So this is a very difficult matchup to actually gauge, because a lot of people say that it's even, but it all comes down to if Hunter is able to pressure the Warrior early and then drop the bombs, or if Warrior is able to stop the pressure with weapons and then maybe combo out. But most of the time, I would give an edge to Hunter, because Warrior might not have enough time to just play the combo cards.
Yeah, I agree. I think as a I'm a Hunter player myself. Although I don't really enjoy the matchup, it's not a matchup that, yeah, I'll stop that game. I'm not really scared of it either. I'm pretty comfortable. And especially when you can get a board like this, your Creeper, which was vulnerable to patrons in the next few turns, is now a 3-4, so trades exceedingly well. And then, you know, you get the 4-3 Houndmaster. The web spin is protected as well to a certain extent, and that's probably going to give you a beast that trades well, or, you know, something you can work with. The snakes are going to be an interesting choice, whether you choose to even try and do the snake juggler combo.
I don't think
it's pretty dangerous, but
it is. Like a couple of games I won as a patron versus midrange hunter was when he actually played the snakes, and then I had this massive frauding going for face. So this is a possible. If he goes with the snakes, then frauding might actually work. But on the other hand, right now he is in such a great position that Green Patron can't do much. He can't even deal with those minions on board.
Yeah, it's just escalating now, and this is the exact match Unskiller would want. The exact draws he wants to just keep dropping minions. I mean, his next turn isn't even going to be dead because he can coin out Dr. Boom, so he can actually just get so much tempo in it. I just don't think there's enough time for DontStopMe to come back here.
With the Death Bite, how much damage is it? If he attacks, like he can't even attack with the Death Bite, he will take 5 points of damage because of the Knife Juggler, and then he drops down to 14, and there is what, 5, 6, 10, 13, 15 points of damage. So this Death Bite, even though it will normally set up a board where he can maybe win with the frauding, it's too late, and Unskiller, just look at Unskiller. His face is saying, this is the easiest Hearthstone of my life.
Yeah. Definitely, it's just when a game can almost play itself like this, and especially in such an important tournament match, you're more than happy. It's like just let the cards play themselves and take the win. Another Houndmaster as well. So even if he didn't have the coin, Houndmaster here and he can still hero power is just as good a turn.
Would he have lethal with the armor up? Actually, maybe he was one off, but with Houndmaster he has the lethal for sure, and you can just go and finish the game.
Yeah, and not a lot of patrons are actually even running Brawl either, so filling up your board with Hunter, as long as you don't overstack it with like 1 attack or 2 attack minions to be vulnerable to the patrons, like it's fine. Like you're not really even scared of Brawl. It's not like you're playing against Control Warrior where you can't overextend. So yeah, it's just happy. It just keeps dropping the Houndmasters.
Oh man, you have to be really sad right now, because you're a Hunter fan, and you will not see any more Hunter from Unskiller.
Yeah, that's fine though. We can follow it with Rogue, so
yeah,
that's not too bad.
It's actually pretty good for you. And I'm happy as well because DontStopMe is bringing the Malygos Warlock, my favorite deck. Oh
yeah, yeah, really interesting deck to watch. There's so many. We saw that because a few people have brought Malygos Warlock, right? It's the most common.
Yeah, Tom609, Hawkeye is running it. DontStopMe is running it. So a lot of people, they do play the Malygos Warlock.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a few games that haven't even come down to what you'd sort of, or at least what I've seen on ladder a lot, and what the deck's built for is the atypical Malygos combo turns. It's like a lot of them have come down to very sort of minion trading board control, because these players are good enough to know what combos can come against them, so can try and sort of avoid that. So
yeah, that's true.
Some interesting games.
It's such an amazing deck. Like you really don't need the Malygos. And the last tournament I casted, there was the Malygos combo being casted first by a priest who actually thought stole the cards from the Malygos deck. Double thought steal granted him a Soulfire, a Dark Bomb, Malygos, and a Moral Coil. And that was the first time somebody used it, even though 3-4 players played it.
Yeah, it's just priests. Unfair. That's an unfair card.
Yeah, they only win when they steal the good cards, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the only reason they play, to play with everyone else's cards.
That's true, so, that's true. Nobody's playing priest in this tournament, though.
No, it's a weird one. It seems just like heavily favoured by some players. Because I know a few good players that like priest.
Gara, Colento, they love it.
Yeah, but in general, it's just not a general pick. If you say trying to get better at the game and learning the game, or even at reasonably high levels, priest just isn't really a go-to class. You look at classes like Hunter, Rogue, Warrior, and Warlock as the variations as well. There's just easier classes to just get into and really try, whereas priest fluctuates so much in how it performs on ladder and in tournaments. It's really difficult to try and get that grasp of it.
Are you saying people should play Zoo and Hunter when they start learning the game?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
You will get a lot of hate.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. Has anyone played ladder? Especially at the start of a season?
I actually agree. Like those decks teach you how to trade minions and how to advance the state. All right, so Hunter's out. There is Rogue incoming, but being DontStopMe, what do you take so that Unskiller doesn't stop you?
It's a tough one. I always like just relocking in a deck again, is a personal preference. But I would have liked to see him play Druid, but it looks like it's going to be a Warrior Mirror. Well, do we know if it's going to be a Mirror? Do we know if it's Control?
We have no idea. And
okay.
Lothar pointed out that it can actually be Control. I do think Unskiller is playing Green Patron because he loved Miracle Rogue, and Green Patron is the closest you can get to Miracle Rogue, the old one. So it is a combo deck. It has a lot of drawing potential, so I would not see him playing Control. Even though Control is obviously a valid deck, you can play it in those tournaments.
I think in his lineup as well, if we saw Control, he might have gone with the tactic of saying, I just won't lose to Patron. And if he's confident with Hunter and Rogue against Patron, like as the guys were speaking about earlier, about the Rogue players thinking Rogue's better than the other like the other matchups, and then playing in Control Warrior would make sense into that. But, well... yeah, it could still be Control.
I'm just looking at those players' names, and it's like, it would be so funny if Unskiller actually shows a lot of skill and stops DontStopMe.
I think that might well happen, actually. I'm really confident. I think Unskiller's, especially getting the first win as well, just like gets on stage, wins first game. It's like, it's got to be, and he won it really convincingly. It wasn't even particularly close, just down to how well he drew in. DontStopMe sort of just getting slowed down by bad draws himself. So I think locking the Warrior's okay. He might actually want to just have done that because he wants to sit on Rogue. As like, if you play Rogue 3 times against these classes, the odds on you drawing badly, like all 3 games, and not taking a win is so small.
You will win eventually.
Yeah.
All right, so Green Patron versus Green Patron, and we can see Harrison Jones for Unskiller, a very important card in the mirror. On the other hand, for DontStopMe, I like this hand. There is some Whirlwind Effect, there is Acolyte of Pain as well, Slam, Death Spite, very good card. Normally, Patron comes down to who will be able to Patron first. Like, you want to have Death Spite on 4, Patron on 5, Inner Rage Patron, then Death Spite attack, get a couple of Patrons, and usually there is no way to deal with that. But sometimes, if the game is prolonged, if you have many patrons, you can actually die to frauding or
it's the main sort of answer, isn't it? It's you either can clear the patrons because there's not too many of them, or you can froth in answer and just kill him back. But yeah, we are going to see the Taskmaster onto the Armor Smith, which is pretty okay. It's forced a trade from the Despite, and he doesn't actually have anything to really combo with the Despite too much on the following turn. So, like you said, he's missing the patron that you really want by this turn, but. Unskiller does have Harrison, and I really like having Harrison in your hand at the start against any Warrior. Just because you know it's there, and Warrior doesn't normally play fast enough to say, oh, turn 5 I've already lost. It doesn't normally happen.
I think like Unskiller's situation is just amazing. Not only has Harrison for a possible Death Spite on 4, so Harrison on 5, he also has Torisan on 6, and he already has two combo pieces, so you'll never be sorry about playing Torisan in that spot. So now if DontStopMe actually goes with Death Spite, that would be an amazing turn for Unskiller. If there's no Death Spite though, it might be a bit clunky.
Yeah, I mean, was the reason he didn't Death Spite there just because it kills the Armor Smith so easily, and you know you might run into a big Whirlwind turn from his Death Spite and gain more armor? Do you think he just didn't play it because the Gnomish Inventor was easier, small card draw, and he doesn't really have patrons or anything to, again, get any value off that Whirlwind effect?
I definitely agree with Gnomish Inventor. Like, looking from DontStopMe perspective, there's no need to play the Death Spite yet because you don't have the patron. You have nothing to like follow through with the Death Spite that you play and the attack that you get. And Gnomish Inventor is a card that actually puts something on board so you are able to trade minions, and then you maybe draw into those cards that you really need. Okay, so now for the DontStopMe, his hand is still pretty good with a lot of draw potential. That ghoul, can you somehow... I'm just thinking if there is a reason, maybe Battle Rage.
Yeah, I think getting the Battle Rage for 3 at this point is looking at his hand as well. He needs some more key cards. He really needs a patron, especially with having Despite, and he gets it. But Battle Raging for 3 there is probably as good as you're going to get, short term at least.
Yeah, I love it. Just getting so many cards for 2 mana is amazing and crazy in this deck. So the next thing he can do, there is no way to save this Taskmaster, so I guess attacking into Unstable Pool makes a lot of sense. You want to proc those Whirlwinds earlier. You don't want your opponent to be able to proc the Whirlwinds and get the effects that he wanted. just clearing the board here. There is that Death Spite. It's not able to do anything with it. Not using the coin as well, because you want to keep the coin for those big turns where you get Warsong, Patron. Maybe you want to coin in Whirlwind at the same time.
Yeah, coining out one more Whirlwind effect will win or lose you the game. You know, straight off the bat, you've seen some of the crazy combos you can do in either generating more patrons or just creating a couple of berserkers that just outright kill your opponent. But the Emperor here is fine. He's in no rush. He's got reduction on Warsong, Frothing, Whirlwind, and he has Inner Rage in hand. And even a reduction on the Harrison just makes it that little bit easier, and you can squeeze more into your next turn, as I'm almost certainly going to see the Harrison this time round.
Oh, I love it. Unless he gets Frothing, then he has default.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm not sure if he has default, but
it'll be close.
It's possible. Well, it might actually be possible, because then he'll have like double Whirlwind effect and Despite the face, double Frothing. That would be really close.
What do you think about using the Whirlwind there to actually clear the board? Because although it looks good because the board is clean and he can do some other stuff, he's now used Whirlwind and Inner Rage on minions you don't normally use them on. Or the Whirlwind was on nothing of his own, actually. He does still have the Death Bite Whirlwind, but he's just used two pretty key cards in the matchup, I guess, just to get board control.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, he got board control, but then he is starting to get so many cards from his opponent. So maybe just clearing the minions to avoid the Frothing from his opponent, just killing him this turn. And he still is in a good position. He has some draw. He has one Whirlwind effect, so provided that DontStopMe doesn't play a weapon removal card, he is in a good spot.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty disappointing for Unskiller, like getting rid of one Death Spite and just seeing another one drop straight away. He's just like, it's good. It's always good to get rid of, and he, he's gained a card draw.
There's a Whirlwind.
Yeah, he just gains another Whirlwind again, and there's the Grim Patron. So why not? If only he kept hold of the thingy.
Actually, if he goes Patrons, doesn't mean he's dead, because of unless it's actually enough to win here. It shouldn't. Yeah, there is no way to get.
He's still got coins, so he can actually get 3 Whirlwind effects next turn onto his Frothing.
Wait, this is 12 points of damage. So he's 5 off, and this means that DontStopMe will survive.
Does DontStopMe just win next turn?
How much damage?
Oh no, he's only got 1 Frothing. Sorry, it's just that he's got 3 Whirlwind effects. I'm not doing maths again on stream.
Okay, so basically 6 mana. He'll have 9, so he'll had 3 off. Whirlwind plus Unstable Ghoul, so he can play everything. He gets another Unstable though. Another Frothing, but he will not have enough mana to do it. So 1 Frothing, 2 Whirlwind effects. Is it enough?
It'll be 3, won't it? The weapon.
Oh yeah, 3.
Yeah, the weapon, the Whirlwind, and the Ghoul, and also the first Whirlwind effect.
This has
is
to be
going to create
right?
more patrons as well, isn't
How
it?
many minions that will be? That's plus 3 minions, and he has 5, 8. So basically plus 8 for the first Whirlwind, then plus 7, that's 15, then plus 6, that's 21. Weapon is 25, then Frothing's attack is plus 1, plus 2, 23. I think he's off.
Did you add in the extra patrons it's going to summon though? The Whirlwind effects?
No. No, I didn't. So it's
3 Whirlwind effects will fill the board,
This
right?
means it's default, but he will not have enough time to execute everything, I believe. Because patrons are going to spawn.
Oh. Oh. Okay, he's going for 2 Berserkers. Have we missed something? Is this just lethal with 2 Berserkers and we're just overdoing it?
That's 5 plus 3. So basically it's 16, 20 points of damage.
Oh, we see DontStopMe just, casual pen flicking there.
Maybe he didn't count. He was like, I either have it or I don't. I just go with it.
Yeah, just do it. I actually do play Patron like that sometimes. It goes, this board looks like it might be lethal.
Alright, so this is, I think, a very good Reddit thread where I believe he might have hit lethal. Alright, I just want to...
Someone else, get Subtle. He loves this sort of thing. Get Subtle to work this out for us right now.
I just basically need to count it. So the first Whirlwind effect is this 3 plus 5 minions on board, right?
Yep.
So it's plus 8. Alright, the second Whirlwind effect, one of the patrons dies, but the board is full because the patrons spawn.
Because you gain 3, right?
Yeah, so it's like 7 minions plus 3 because you played Unstable Ghoul and you played Frothing and you played Warsong. So we get plus 10. And then the last Whirlwind effect, which is Unstable Ghoul attacking into one of the patrons, is how much damage? You attack, Frothing will not die, so you basically have Unstable Ghoul attacking into one of the patrons. One of the patrons, yeah.
And then the Whirlwind effect.
And then the Wooden Effect will have +2 on your side. And how many patrons will survive? Probably like 1 dice or maybe 2 dice. So it's like +5. So it's +7, let's say. A question mark. Somebody has to see that. And it's +2 from Frothing's attack. And it's +4 from Death Spite. So it's basically 18, 25 +6. That's 31. So.
And what health was he on?
27.
Oh, right. So it would have been.
Definitely had less than 30.
Yeah. Well, maths with Nimsh, guys.
I guess that's correct. Probably Anal's desk is counting that. But we have another match almost ready.
And we see the Rogue, which it obviously has to come out, I've just realized, because Unskiller is 2-0 up.
Yep. Okay. So how is Rogue versus Patron? I think it's a good matchup. Like most of the time, it is a good matchup because Rogue can clear the board and do a lot of stuff. But on the other hand, if you miss Flurry when they Patron...
Yeah, I think something you can try and do as the Warrior is create a board maybe with like Taskmaster, Armor Smith and a few other things. Create a big enough board to sort of say, well, if you don't Flurry this, you are going to die at some point quick. Or if you do Flurry it, then my patrons are that much safer with 1 Flurry out of the deck. So I think that's one way to play it. It's really difficult to try and get, like, say, a Frothing combo off, because Rogue doesn't normally have a board full of minions either, unless they count Violet Teacher, but no one's really going to play into that against Warrior as well. So very limited options, I think, for the Warrior, whereas the Rogue just has to handle his weapon correctly. And I think that if the Warrior can, say, get a good Harrison on if the Rogue just sits with a big oiled dagger and just waits, and just gets ate by Harrison, the game could swing that way.
We actually haven't seen Harrison from DontStopMe. We've seen Harrison from Unskiller.
Yeah.
So he might not even be playing it. Harrison will be such an amazing card versus Unskiller's lineup with Patron and Rogue and Hunter.
Yeah, all 3 classes.
Perfect card.
I'm of the belief at the moment that you pretty much put Harrison in every deck, regardless, just because the way the meta is. We're going to see the Frothing Berserker down just straight off the bat. How do you like this versus Rogue? I know this is a common play versus something like Face Hunter, where you just want to get the threat on the board and start trading, but versus Rogue, I'm not really sure how well it's going to turn out.
I don't like it really, because what can happen, especially if he has the coin, like with coin, even like Deadly Poison SA7, but what I would expect is like Backstab SA7.
Or even, like, he could even just weapon, coin, eviscerate, which it doesn't sound great, but it's just removed 1 Frothing.
Preparation, eviscerate SA7.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, basically,
there are
so many ways. There are a lot of ways to
kill a
it.
Berserker.
And they're not that bad, so... Okay, so far the Berserker is actually alive, somehow. And for DontStopMe, Battle Rage does not work.
It's really awkward as well, because the Death Spite looks okay, but you don't want to just go face with it too much, because there's a lot of Rogue minions that you really want to clear the Rogue side of the board every turn. You don't want to leave them with minions and make oils even more powerful. So you really want to use that to just clear minions, unless you're setting up a kill turn. So I'm not too surprised to not see the Death Spite. And another way the Warrior can play this matchup is just the Rogue has sort of a finite amount of damage it can do. So you just play it more like controlling, like you would play versus, say, Freeze Mage, and just focus on the armor and maybe getting a big Armor Smith turn.
I would actually love to see the Death Spite here. So you play Death Spite, and then and you go face, and next turn, if the Frothing survives, you play some minions, and you attack again. You get the Wyrmwood effect, and you have a big Battle Rage. So this way you do cycle cards, you draw cards to replenish the lost Death Spite and Frothing, and you deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, true. And looking at his hand, I think, you know, he does need to start cycling through to the more important stuff. He has a Battle Rage and a Slam and double execute Whirlwind, so there's nothing to actually even do next turn yet. So he will be able to kill the Drake though, but you know, I think Unskiller's pretty okay with what he's got so far. He's got a lot of sort of mid-tier drops in the 4 and 5 mana, and the Loatheb's pretty important as well in this matchup to just know you're safe from the majority of Whirlwind effects, and just sort of just lock out one. You gain 1 more turn of safety against Patron Warrior.
Oh, I think he's amazing actually, because being a rogue, like if you set up a big dagger, you go all in, you play Lotheb, and then you know you're not going to die next turn, so you go with all the other damage.
Yeah, you almost just gain another turn that, like, a lot of the time.
Picking up that Acolyte was super important for DontStopMe. He needs cards, and now he also... Acolyte, I guess, is going to die, but still, 2 cards getting from it, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he probably wanted, if anything, just the Acolyte to survive, just to get a bit of a better Battle Rage off as well and getting even more value. But, like you said, 2 cards is okay, and 3 damage isn't terrible either. if he has to go face.
Also, he's playing really well versus Rogue overall at this moment, because what you want to do as a Green Patron versus Rogue, you want to kill all the minions. Like, I guess every class wants to do it. You want to kill those minions.
Not Hunter. It's just face, right?
Yeah, most of the time, actually. Like, Hunter wants to go face, but you want to deny them a big oil on the minions so that they can be aggressive, and then they get tempo. Rogue is called tempo deck for a reason. The reason is, like, if you deny the tempo, it actually struggles.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
the sprint in hand as well from Unskiller is okay, because although it's probably not going to come out in the next turn or so, unless he draws a prep, it's always good to just have it in your hand and know as you start to just burn out of your cards, because Rogues can play like 4 or 5 cards in a turn quite easily, and suddenly they're sat on nothing. But having the sprint there just to know you can go towards the late game more and just getting a bit more control, especially when the Patron Warrior's barely got any cards himself. And we are going to see a decent Battle Rage come out for 3, which is actually probably as good as he's going to get with that hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with the sprint that you said. It seems like it might be a longer... Oh, there's a Harrison Jones in a Rogue deck.
That's fine. I told you, Harrison, every deck.
Yeah, it works for Unskiller so far. And one Death Spite is out of the way. If he plays a second Death Spite and Unskiller denies him, that Death Spite effect, that might actually matter a lot.
Yeah, and they because he can actually at least get rid of one of the Armor Smiths as well. So he could definitely just reduce the armor, but also knowing that you've already seen one execute, and most Patron Warriors don't run Big Game Hunter. This is, you know, that just makes the Loatheb even better with this the totem that's come out from the Shredder. I think Unskiller's in such a good position.
Yeah. For DontStopMe here, you basically play Nomish Inventor and then set up Death Spite for next turn, and you hope that you're going to win with Frauding and Warstone Commander and so many Whirlwinds. But then that Harrison Jones is actually going to save Unskiller.
It's going to delay the game though, because if he Harrison's, and that's still quite a good chunk of armor, just to push him back up. So it's not like Unskiller's got lethal, because there are not even any oils in hand. Although the Blade Flurry is nice, there's no oils to combo that with. So he does have to actually kill off one of the Armor Smiths. So he put 7 damage into a 3 health Armor Smith, but if he didn't, I think just, you know, gaining 6 armor off that it was just too much to try and power through. Because as I said, Rogue can only still do so much damage.
Actually, how many minions is there still on the board? If he doesn't kill the Nomish Inventor, that's 4 minions, that's +2, that's 6. So it's 12 +3.
Oh,
that's
the Inner
15,
Rage,
that's 7. That's lethal.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that just going to be lethal with the Inner Rage especially?
Yeah, it is, because Whirlwinds are +6, and that's 12 from Whirlwinds, +2 from Frauding's attack, and Inner Rage is +3.
Yeah, and there you go. Welcome to Patron Warrior, guys, if you've not seen this before.
Yeah, this is how it works. Basically, the more minions, the better for Patron. This time, DontStopMe has a bit of an easier board, let's say, to figure out what's going on. And then he has +2 from the Inventor as well.
Yeah, DontStopMe is probably going to be really happy just to get a win on the board, because the second you go 2-0 in pretty decisive games, you've got to be a little bit worried of just getting stomped 3-0 and just that's it. So getting a win on the tables right there, but to be fair to Unskiller as well, I don't think he misplayed. I think he just did what you had to do. He could have won the game next turn, especially with prep sprint. But, you know, if someone's got the combo and there's nothing you can really do about it, fair enough.
Yeah, that's true. And also, DontStopMe got a very important information. There is Harrison Jones in Unskiller's deck. What does it mean for him? He's not playing any weapon classes, right? What's that?
Oh, he's running Malygos Warlock, so it's not going to run
and a
Draxus,
Druid
right?
without any weapons as well. So it means that he actually has an edge. Like Harrison now is not working really well for Unskiller because the classes that are left, they do not have weapons.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be good for DontStopMe because he knows it's not a dead card, because if you can get Harrison out on a relatively empty board, it's still a 5-4. It's still going to, you know, contest some minions quite well, things like Belchers and stuff. But overall, I think just knowing you've got your opponent's got a tech card that means nothing. It's like playing a Kezin against a deck that doesn't have secrets. It's just a 4-3 for, you know, 4 mana. So yeah, there's definitely a slight edge for DontStopMe. Probably got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So guys, if you want to see if Unskiller is going to get one more game with the Rogue, or is he going to lose all the games with Rogue and lose the match? Stay tuned after the break.
And it all comes down to this Stormwind champion versus Ogre Brute.
I'm feeling really good about Stormwind here.
Whoa.
Am I seeing this right?
Could be a scare tactic, Bob. Could be nerves.
I don't think scare tactics work with ogres.
You know from experience.
Okay, well, let's not get into my personal life.
Hold that thought. Looks like we have a substitution. It's Tinkmaster Overspark.
This guy's a very technical player. His game's about nuance, precision.
Whoa, that's Hearthstone.
Play it free on your phone or PC.
Hey guys, welcome back to Gfinity Masters Tournament. I'm your host Nimsh. I'm joined here by Raven. We've watched Unskiller versus DontStopMe, three first games, and right now Unskiller is leading 2-1 versus DontStopMe. He just needs to win with the Rogue. Is it that difficult?
No, I think with 2 games to go, Unskiller's going to be pretty confident that. I mean, that game, it didn't go terribly for him. He was in quite a good position, but he had to play the minions on the board to win. But then if someone answers you with a frothing combo, you know, there's not much other than something like a Sludge Belcher if he runs one, maybe. There's nothing he can actually do, or maybe out-heal it, but there's nothing he can really do. So I don't think he's going to be too upset about that loss. He played well, he played it correctly, I think.
That was really interesting because he played Lotheb, which is a premier minion that stops the spell, and then he followed with Hearthstone and destroyed an equipment, and he still lost. Yeah,
I think getting DontStopMe getting like so many whirlwind effects, like just one after the other in hand, was huge. And even just the Inner Rage was like, I think the last straw before he was just secured the victory as well.
Yeah, and whoever wins this match is actually going to advance. So if DontStopMe actually wins versus this Rogue 2 times, I think he definitely needs to change his nickname to Can't Stop Me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty reasonable. Or Didn't Stop Me, maybe, I don't know. So he's actually got Warlock and
Druid.
Druid left.
So Malygos Warlock versus Rogue. That's a matchup. So we were talking a lot about Handlock versus Rogue, where originally Handlock was very good versus Rogue because Rogue wasn't able to deal with all the threats, had to spend the damage on the big giants, and then maybe setting up a big dagger was the thing. But right now it seems like Rogue is actually doing pretty well versus Handlock. How does Rogue do versus Malygos Warlock?
It's a tough one. I think it's going to be probably quite split, the opinion on it, because I think that a lot of the creatures are smaller in terms of health, so there's not the giants to deal with. So you don't really need to build up as big a weapon to try and, say, flurry down or threaten it at least. But there's only really the Twilight Drakes that are going to get too much health. But other than that, I mean, the saps are going to be pretty important, I think, just to keep the board control. But it's going to come down to just who can pull off the bigger combo first. I think with the combo that Blade Flurries can do, especially if we didn't see it, but I know a lot of role players have been running an Assassin's Blade as well recently.
Yeah.
So that combined with oils is just crazy if there's no answer to the weapon. I'm not sure if DontStopMe was playing an ooze in the deck. I know someone was. I'm just not sure who.
But actually, DontStopMe is choosing his Druid first. So we need to talk more about that one, that matchup. And that matchup, I think, is all right. Like, basically, when you play Malygos Warlock, I think it's even better than Handlock versus Druid. Because when you play Handlock versus Druid, you're afraid of the silence of BGH. But here with the Malygos Warlock, you have Corruptor and you have Twilight Drakes, so you can actually overpower Druid with those minions. Cards like Implosion are great as well. They kill stuff, they provide minions on the board. They need to have the swipe to deal with that. If they don't, they are in a bad position.
Yep, so we are going to see... just missed... Oh, Innovate's always a good start. It just needs the Wild Growth now.
Wait, did he mulligan Innovate and got it back?
I think so. That's what I was going to say. I didn't quite see what was mulliganed, but...
Dancing Innovates.
I'm pretty mediocre hand for Unskiller as well. It's okay.
I just realized I discussed the Druid versus Malygos Warlock matchup, which made no sense.
It made sense, maybe just not too much about this specific game, but the actual description was apt.
Alright, so Rogue versus Druid. What do we do about that?
It's a long day, it's fine. Yeah, I was just Unskiller's hand is okay. Again, we're going to see the Harrison though, pretty dead. Like, not going to do too much. Lotheb's great against Druid to stop combo, but having Lotheb from turn 1 isn't, because you just don't need it till probably turn 9 at least. The SI just being played on its own.
Have we seen Violet Teacher from Unskiller? Because I feel like when I play Rogue versus Druid many times, it comes down to if I'm able to set up a board before they do.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a Violet Teacher actually yet. I know it's just another one of those sort of flare picks that you, some Rogue players I know love it, some just don't bother, some play 2, some plays 1, so. The innovated out Lotheb's interesting. Personally, I don't know if that's too soon. What's the Rogue going to do? That's going to be spell heavy on turn 5.
It just looks so bad for Unskiller right now. He doesn't have the flare, he doesn't have weapon buffs. Lotheb and that Shade just growing there. If he follows up with Pilot or Shredder, I don't know what to do with the SA7 though. Would you attack into it or would you just go face? You do have to race, I feel.
It's a real tough one because whichever choice you make, you have to fully commit to. You can't sort of trade now and then try and go aggressive after. He draws into the other SI, which how much does that actually help? I'm looking at like backstab and he can evist the Lotheb. But again, he's sort of 1 over damage unless he wants to use his face to do. But he will take 5 damage there as well. So, oh, he can actually Fan of Knives. That's a good point. So he can actually get a pretty good clear.
Oh,
and the Cub.
There is a bear.
Makes sense. Druid, bear. It's fine.
Yeah, actually, it was looking bad, but still, Unskiller is fighting. He was able to contain the board a bit. But now there's 5-4 after behind the Belcher, and he knows that Eviscerate is out.
Oh, we can sap them both as well.
Yeah, there is a sap though. He can basically use the deckhand here. That's pretty nice. I like it. And now this is exactly what the tempo rogue should do. He is maintaining tempo. He has minions on board. He is the one attacking, and he has that sap for whatever is going to happen. And also he'll be able to play Lotheb. So turn 7 will be a huge tempo turn.
Yeah, and it's really weird as well is because when you see the Rogue with quite a minion-heavy hand, you don't normally think they can get a lot done, but somehow with, you know, he just managed to just clear off there. He's vulnerable to a swipe, but at worst, if he gets the swipe against him now, the Druid's only got 2 mana left. What, hero power? You know, that's fine because then it's the Rogue's initiative again. But I can see the Sylvanas come down and just another sap, and again, like you said, Unskiller's just gaining more and more tempo.
Yeah.
And although he's only got 2 cards in hand, DontStopMe's got to start being afraid of oil. If those 2 cards are Oil Blade Flurry, even without the buff onto the minion, that's still a lot of damage.
Yeah, at this point he has to play the Belcher. Like, he can't go Dr. Boom where normally you would go Dr. Boom. And Dr. Boom, is Dr. Boom a better play? How much damage is there? There's 11, 12 points of damage incoming. So Boom might be better, but I think you're just afraid.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. You can go Belcher and then hero power into the 3-1, but you're still taking 3, and you know the Belcher is 100% dead next turn. Even though you've seen both saps and 1 of this, just the minions on board can clear up the Belcher quite easily and still be relatively healthy. So it's a real tough one. I think he might just be forced into it, but it's definitely not a good play.
But I have to say, excellent play from Unskiller. Certainly just using his spells to clear and maintaining minions on board. This is like a textbook example of Tempo Rogue.
Yeah. And just having double sap as well quite early on has like helped massively. Having double sap combined with DontStopMe only really dropping 1 minion a turn, which is what Druid normally does, it's so strong.
Oh, wow.
You can even Drake, yeah.
Yeah, Drake is amazing. Like, he is able to draw a card. Double Deadly Poison. So with this, he deals with the Belcher, he goes 5 damage to the Dome, and is there anything that DontStopMe can do to survive this?
Yeah, and he also knows he can afford to take that damage because even an innovated out combo isn't going to kill him because he's out of reach. So he actually just saving the health on the Lotheb there, even though he didn't really have to, but just valuing the minion's health more because his health is still safe from the Druid combo. So
seems like that's it. Like, he has to draw a card with the Wrath, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird as well for the Druid. I mean, he played Belcher. You'd imagine he's got 2 Druid of the Claws in the deck, but to just not have really any taunts available that stuck mainly down to those 2 saps was huge.
And he concedes. So Unskiller shows his skill and stops DontStopMe from
That should be the headline for this game, definitely.
Unskiller was my black horse of the tournament.
Oh, really?
And he advanced to the top 4.
And who did you pick for you first?
Tom6029,
Okay,
who was the first
all
player
right.
to advance to the top 4.
All right, you're doing okay.
I know my players. All right, so a pretty good performance for both players, I have to say. Even though DontStopMe had this crazy turn with Patron, which I believe was possibly lethal, and our analysts are probably they probably have the score.
They're probably screaming it one way or the other, whilst we were like, 1,
Lothar
2,
is really
3.
good at math. He's like, yeah.
And I know Sottl's actually spent a good chunk of time just actually looking at like pre-built patron boards and just like working out what he can do, just so he knows. Because if you play that deck, you need to be able to play against the rope, right? So.
All right. What else is there? Like both players played really well, and for DontStopMe, I think first appearance on the big stage, even though maybe he did some questionable plays, I think overall he was in a really good state, and I want to see more of him in the future.
Yeah, and I think this will help him in future events as well. Just having the experience of being at an event like this, playing in a booth, playing in front of an audience, and know your games are being casted is huge. So I think it'll definitely help him move on. But
still, I just need to know if he had lethal. So analysts, guys, please let me know.
Well, thanks very much, Nimsh. Guys, you've worked it out. Lothar has a bit of paper here. Let's go straight into it. Take us through it.
Yeah, that was 32 damage just from the one frauding with the triple whirlwind. Like with that kind of play that you see, you can't really count damage unless like super experienced, because you know that you just lost. If you don't have an option to clear the board, because how do you deal with 4 patrons when you play like and you have 1 execute only and no weapon, and then the weapon is already like a depth spite with 1 durability, right? So there's no way you can save yourself and just make the game longer, and you have an option to play double Frauding Berserkers or just 1. So as you said, with double Fraudings you double the damage, but with 3 whirlwinds you triple the damage, right? So it makes more sense to play to play 1 Frauding and just go for the whirlwind. So you just go like you play the cards, go as fast as possible as just at the start of the turn, because if you're not sure of the outcome, if you're not sure about the whole damage, you just go like all in and deal with it, and that's it. Because otherwise you can't really play. If you are sure that this is exact damage, then you go for it anyway. So and it was lethal, 32 damage.
Yeah, here's the point though. Like, no one's going to blame him for not being able to count that was exactly 32 in 90 seconds. We sat here and did it on a little piece of paper and notepad that you have in front of us.
Yeah, it took like 40 seconds, I think.
Exactly. And we had pen and paper available. I guess they do too, but whatever. Like,
and then you would have had to actually play out the turn.
Right, exactly. Them not being able to count exactly 32 is not the issue. But in that situation, there's a lot of ways you can do it. One, when you're playing Patron, you should always be thinking, okay, if he generates patrons right now, do I have lethal? And that way you can use previous turns to start counting situations and actually get yourself a good idea. Secondly, in that situation, you can just kind of work with averages and just say, like, I'm dealing 3 whirlwinds. The first whirlwind, you can easily see how many minions it's going to hit. It was 9, I think, or 8, one of the 2. And then from there, like, you can kind of assume, okay, my whirlwinds are going to hit like an average of 7 minions each time. So that's 21, and then the Frothing 2 is 23, the Deathbite is 27. Like, you're there. Like, you just go, okay, that has to be lethal.
The first one was 8. Then you have the attack from the Deathbite for 4. You have the basic attack from your Frothing Berserker, so that's additional 2s, that's 14. Then you have the +2 from the Unstable Ghoul to attack to trade and generate 1 minion. So from the start.
Like, patrons are growing and dying as the turn goes on, but I think like assuming 7 is a safe average, you can just deal with it like based on 7 times 3 for the whirlwind effects, and then it's lethal. Like,
it was actually 8, 9, 7.
Right. So there you go. 7's
so
safe.
It was actually
safe as 7 was a conservative estimate.
Yes.
And you can base it on that and go, okay, even if it's 7, I have lethal. Let's just go. Oh, good, he died.
Well, moving on from math class, looking at some other points in the series. Obviously, we saw probably the quickest game we've seen all day with the Hunter game that Unskiller was able to take. I mean, DontStopMe was wishing his name was Don't Stomp Me at that point. And, see, puns. I can do puns. It's not just Nimsh that can do puns. I can also do puns.
I don't know if that's actually something you want to brag on.
Okay, we're doing this now. Okay, let's talk about the Rogue though. I wanted to ask you guys about that because we talked about how Rogue is always a powerful deck in the hands of a good player. What did you make of the Rogue play that you saw from Unskiller, Lothar?
Well, it was like textbook how to deal with Rogue. How do you deal with Druid? Because Druid has tough time dealing with minions on board. because it's always about the damage. It's not about the removals, right? You have to deal the damage with your phase, you have to deal the damage with your wrap or swipe. If you don't have that, you have to trade with your minions. So it's always, you're always on the back foot. And Rogue has an arsenal like a backstab, eviscerate, and he can just deal insane of damage in one turn, regain the board control from like nothing. And we just saw that like the sap bought one turn. It was basically time walk.
Right.
If you played Magic, you know what that means. Because
I have not, but I have learned from association what it means.
Yeah, it was a broken card, but in general, Sap did exactly the same thing. Like, Don't Stop Me. I don't blame him for playing the Sylvanas on turn 6 because he saw one Sap already.
Yes.
But the problem is that you can't really rely on minions that are too slow against Rogue. And Sylvanas is basically saying, okay, I play I waste one turn. Maybe something goes out from this, and he already has 2 minions with 3 attacks. So even if you play the Sylvanas he trades, it's like not a big deal. So you can just play with Keeper and kill one, and that's it.
All right, let's take a quick look at the bracket for Group A. Now that is completed, so that is our final bracket for Group A. You can see that Exploding Cow and Don't Stop Me have sadly left us from the group, and we're left with Tom, 60229, and Unskiller. And I have to say, obviously, we didn't see Unskiller's earlier games. But that definitely seems like the 2 players who probably played the best. I mean, I would have to say, of what we've seen, I think Unskiller played the best on the day.
Yeah, I would say the same. That Tom's how do you say that, overall performance was way below what Unskiller showed today.
But we're definitely below.
And also well below Tom's usual
definitely
standards.
below what we know Tom is capable of.
Yeah. Below what we're used to see.
Yep. Exactly. So we're going to see both of those players, and we talked about maybe Group A being a little bit weaker than Group B, but the 2 players coming out of Group A looking pretty good, especially on Skiller. I'm excited to see what he can do, and obviously he's going to, I believe, probably face Hawkeye tomorrow in our semi-finals, the winner of Group B. We have one more game coming up for you. It's going to be the decider of Group B to decide who goes through in second place. It's going to be Nick Chipper versus Legend Darren. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Hearthstone Summer Masters at Gfinity.
One damage away from victory. They bring in Matter Bomber to seal the deal.
Now this guy really loves dynamite, Jim.
But it doesn't look like it loves him, Bob. He's blown up his own team.
5 for 5, though.
Hearthstone, play it free.
Yeah.